Although I never met my dad's most influential role model, my grandfather, Earl Woods, I feel like I can hear his voice.
Golf's most powerful families are back in the spotlight, and this time, it's not about trophies or tournaments. From quiet heirs to hidden tensions, the next generation is reshaping what legacy really means. But there's more to the story, and today, I'll share all the details behind the families rewriting golf's golden dynasties. Woods' legacy. It's almost poetic, the son of Tiger, stalking the course with a swing eerily familiar, while his sister studies molecular structures instead of club faces. The Woods dynasty, once tabloid fodder for affairs, crashes, and comebacks, has evolved into a quiet, almost cinematic story of reinvention. Once the most watched family in sports, they've traded scandal for subtlety, and in doing so, redefined what it means to live in the long shadow of greatness.
Oh, Sam was fantastic. I mean, this is her first time she's ever done this, and so this is it couldn't have been any more special for all of us. For me to have both my kids inside the ropes like this and participating in and playing and being part of the game of golf like this, it couldn't have been more special for me. And I know that we do this a lot at home, needle each other, and have a great time. But it was more special to do it in a tournament like this.
Sam Alexis Woods, Tiger's eldest, seems almost allergic to the spotlight. At 18, she's traded the roar of Sunday crowds for the hum of Stanford's science labs, a deliberate act of distance from the family business. Her graduation from the Benjamin School in Palm Beach Gardens this past May became a rare public moment of family unity. There they were, Tiger and Elin, the famously fractured exes, smiling side by side for their daughter. No tabloids, no tension, just pride. For a family once shattered under the glare of the cameras, it was a scene of soft redemption. Sam's friends describe her as brilliant, deliberate, and fiercely private. She's an athlete, yes, soccer, not golf, but also a scholar, more drawn to test tubes than tee boxes. She represents a generational shift, the child of a superstar who refuses to be defined by their fame. Tiger once said she has her own interests, a simple phrase that sounds almost wistful coming from a man who once had none outside golf. In a family built on competition, Sam's greatest victory may be choosing a different race entirely. Then there's Charlie Axel, the 16-year-old mini Tiger lighting up junior tournaments across the country. He's got the swing, the swagger, and the uncanny sense of timing that makes golf fans hold their breath. His appearances with Tiger at the PNC Championship have become cultural events, drawing millions of views online. The duo isn't just playing golf, they're performing a living echo of history. For every grin, every synchronized swing, the world sees both the past and the future of the sport. But Charlie's journey comes with a price. Every drive, every putt is dissected, compared, historicized. Expectations weigh heavier than his bag. Yet unlike his father's lonely rise, Charlie has Tiger walking right beside him, coaching, caddying, protecting. The Woods siblings embody two sides of modern legacy, the freedom to flee it and the courage to embrace it. Whether Sam's path leads to laboratories or Charlie's to leaderboards, one thing is certain: the next chapter of the Woods story isn't about scandal or struggle, it's about evolution. Nicklaus dynasty. If Tiger built an empire on passion, Jack Nicklaus raised a kingdom on discipline. The Golden Bear didn't just conquer golf, he colonized it, shaping not only the sport's history, but its future through his family. By 2025, the Nicklaus name isn't just written on trophies, it's engraved across industries, charities, and continents. The dynasty he built has traded green jackets for green initiatives, proving that legacy isn't only about winning, it's about what comes after the applause fades.
Having your kids involved, that to me is the best part. And to be able to spend time, with quality time, not only just on the athletic field or playing or vacationing, but to actually have him there and have him use their minds and we interact together. That to me is really good. I love sitting down and having one of my boys sit there and start.
Jack Nicklaus II, still affectionately called Jackie by his father, is the family's architect in every sense. As president of Nicklaus Design, he's crafted over 400 golf courses worldwide, sculpting landscapes into tributes to his father's vision. But Jackie's success isn't imitation, It's evolution. Where Jack Sr. wielded clubs, Jackie wields blueprints, turning golf into geography. At this year's 50th Memorial Tournament, he stood beside his father and mother, Barbara, whose lifetime commitment to children's healthcare earned her top honors. The moment felt symbolic. A family once defined by putts and pars, now standing united for purpose, not points. Steve Nicklaus's story runs deeper. After losing his young son Jake, Steve transformed grief into generosity. His annual charity event, The Jake, channels pain into power, funding programs for children's hospitals and turning personal tragedy into lasting good. His resilience has become a rallying cry for the entire Nicklaus clan, a reminder that greatness isn't measured by majors, but by meaning. Then come Nancy, Gary, and Michael, the remaining trio of the Golden Bears brood. Each has found their niche within the family ecosystem, whether in real estate, philanthropy, or managing facets of the Nicklaus brand. The family gatherings now resemble board meetings of benevolence, with 24 grandchildren and 7 great-grandchildren already donning play yellow shirts to raise money for children's hospitals. This is not a family that retires. It replicates. Through it all, Jack Sr., now in his mid-80s, remains the empire's humble monarch. He's less a sportsman now and more a statesman, steady, smiling, and surrounded by generations that mirror his ethos of purpose over fame. If the Woods clan is the modern reinvention of golf celebrity, the Nicklauses are its preservationists, a dynasty preserved in amber, disciplined, dignified, and devoutly devoted to doing good. Their secret? Turning victory into virtue and fame into foundation. Palmer daughters. Arnold Palmer's legacy isn't loud anymore. It hums, quietly, through the steady hands of his daughters. Peggy Palmer Wares and Amy Palmer Saunders have inherited a kingdom built not on ego, but on empathy. Their father, the king, ruled golf with charisma so immense it turned galleries into armies and tournaments into pilgrimages. Yet decades after his final swing, his daughters preside over his legacy not with the swagger of royalty, but with the calm precision of caretakers. In 2025, their reign is one of reverence, not spectacle.
What was it like to have a president visit your home?
Yeah, I remember when the Eisenhowers came to our home and when they arrived in their big back limousine, and it was just, we were fascinated as children. It was a wonderful visit, and they were very inclusive of my sister and myself.
In an age where celebrity children often chase relevance through exposure, Peggy and Amy have chosen silence as strength. They don't broadcast their lives, they curate their father's memory. But that doesn't mean they don't speak when it matters. In October 2024, Peggy made rare headlines after publicly calling out Donald Trump's remarks that casually invoked her father's name during a campaign speech. A poor choice, she said, measured, firm, and distinctly Palmer. It wasn't politics, it was principle. Peggy's quiet rebuke reminded the world that Arnold Palmer's name isn't a tool for attention, it's a legacy of class, and she'll defend it like sacred ground. Now in their 60s and 70s, the sisters have become the moral stewards of the Arnold and Winnie Palmer Foundation, an organization that continues to fund children's hospitals, youth golf programs, and community initiatives. Through their leadership, Palmer's life philosophy, kindness, humility, and generosity, has been institutionalized, transformed into something that outlasts fame. Amy, the gentler of the two, works mostly behind the scenes, balancing philanthropy with family life. She attends foundation events sparingly, preferring quiet contribution over public applause. Together, Peggy and Amy have turned legacy into lifestyle and charity into continuation. They could have commodified their father's charm, sold his image, licensed his charisma, franchised the king. But they didn't. They chose preservation over profit, purpose over popularity. That decision, in today's influencer economy, feels revolutionary. While other golfing heirs chase validation through brand deals or docuseries, the Palmers chase integrity. They exist outside the chaos of digital celebrity, beyond the endless scroll of scandal and performance. And in doing so, they've safeguarded something rare: authenticity. Their story is one that modern fame tends to forget. Power through privacy, strength through silence, success without spectacle. In a world obsessed with self-promotion, the Palmers remain a masterclass in grace, proving that the truest legacy isn't shouted, it's quietly, beautifully, sustained. Mickelson lineage. Phil Mickelson might be golf's eternal showman, the grin, the gamble, the risk that became religion. But his kids? They're the quiet revolution he never saw coming. In 2025, the Mickelson children, Amanda, Sophia, and Evan, aren't chasing birdies, they're chasing meaning. And somehow, that feels like the biggest win Lefty ever scored. While Phil built a life of televised triumphs and controversies, his children have built one of calm conviction, a counterbalance to the chaos that defined his career. Amanda Bryn, the eldest, is the philosopher of the family. After graduating from Brown University, she's drifted far from the spotlight her father once basked in. Rumors swirl about her pursuing postgraduate research or consulting work, but Amanda has mastered the art of mystery. She's thoughtful, deliberate, the human embodiment of a 10-foot putt that drops with quiet precision. There's no flash, no need for performance. She's the antithesis of Phil the Thrill, a study in calm intellect against a legacy of kinetic energy. Her victory isn't public applause, it's peace. Then comes Sophia, the middle child and the family's creative heartbeat. At 24, she's immersed in dance and acting, her movements as expressive as her father's golf swings once were theatrical. Sophia's social media shows glimpses of rehearsals, small stage performances, and sunlit moments of joy. The tabloids, ever hungry, tried to paint her as another celebrity kid chasing fame, but they missed the point. Sophia's not performing for validation, she's performing for expression. In a family built on discipline and tension, she's found rebellion in rhythm, freedom in art. And then there's Evan, the youngest Mickelson, now 22, still cocooned in academia. He's the ghost of the family, rarely seen, quietly content. Occasionally, he surfaces at charity events or family gatherings, always smiling, always reserved. His story is still unwritten, and perhaps that's what makes it beautiful, a deliberate pause in a lineage addicted to motion. What's most striking about the Mickelson children isn't their independence, it's their unwavering unity. Through Phil's gambling admissions, the drama of LIV Golf, and the relentless churn of public scrutiny, they've stayed close, anchored by Amy Mickelson's quiet strength. She's been the unseen strategist, the woman who built a sanctuary while the storm howled outside. The Mickelsons aren't a dynasty, they're a defense, a living testament to finding stillness amid spectacle. And in their calm, they've proven something Phil never quite could on the green. Sometimes the greatest gamble is choosing peace. Norman Empire. If golf royalty ever had a rock star, it was Greg Norman. The shark, the swagger, the smirk that could sell champagne and intimidation in equal measure. But in 2025, it's not the legend on the fairway making waves, it's his children. Morgan Lee and Greg Norman Jr. have inherited their father's fearless DNA, but none of his obsession with golf's traditional fairways. Instead, they've built something bolder, an empire that fuses adrenaline, aesthetics, and ambition. The Sharks' heirs aren't chasing trophies, they're rewriting the playbook on legacy itself. Greg Norman Jr., at 40, is every inch his father's son, but in a distinctly 21st century way. He's swapped clubs for code, greens for grids, and fairways for flow parks. As CEO of Shark Wake Park and Europa Labs, he's turned the Norman name into a lifestyle, one that screams luxury adrenaline. Wakeboarding, water parks, athletic innovation. His world runs on saltwater, startups, and social media swagger. Every post feels curated, kinetic, and unmistakably Norman. He's turned brand building into performance art, managing to channel his father's confidence without the controversy. Well, most of the time. June 2025 brought a full-circle moment when Greg Jr. welcomed a son, Knox Norman. For fans who grew up watching the original Shark dominate the 90s, the news hit like a nostalgic drive down memory lane. Golf's fiercest predator was now a doting grandfather. Photos of Greg Sr. holding his grandson on the family's Jupiter Island estate went viral. Not because of sentimentality, but because it made people realize something profound. The Sharks' empire wasn't fading, it was multiplying. Meanwhile, Morgan Lee Norman, ever the enigma, has mastered the art of presence through absence. After early media attention during her 20s, glamour shoots, public appearances, a few fleeting tabloid headlines, she disappeared from the spotlight with intent. Now in her 40s, she's chosen a quieter life focused on family, philanthropy, and creativity. Her social media is serene, more ocean vistas than brand deals, more reflection than revelation. In a family addicted to speed, she's the pause button. Together, the Norman heirs embody a rare duality: the spectacle of modern branding and the serenity of selective exposure. Greg Sr., still a lightning rod thanks to his leadership in LIV Golf, watches proudly from his oceanfront fortress, posting cryptic gym clips that scream, "The shark never sleeps." The Norman Empire remains sleek, loud, unapologetic, but beneath the muscles and marketing lies evolution. Greg Jr. and Morgan Lee prove that true legacy isn't about domination anymore. It's about adaptation. In a world where fame can drown you, the Normans didn't sink. They learned to surf. Player resilience. 9 majors, a global icon, a life sculpted from sweat, faith, and ferocious discipline. Gary Player's story reads like a parable, and at 89, the man they call the Black Knight still presides over a dynasty as complex as it is compelling. His children have inherited his drive, his grit, and, perhaps most tellingly, his refusal to surrender, even when legacy gets messy.
And we got friends from all over the world coming here to help. And you see these wonderful kids, and there's nothing worse than seeing a child that doesn't have love from a father or a mother or a grandfather. My legacy is not winning, having won more tournaments than any man in the world today. My legacy is changing the lives of people. We're raising tens of millions of dollars around the world to change the lives of people that are struggling. And to have all these people come here and be on this golf course, you know, Sun City is the greatest resort on the planet.
Player, the patriarch of 6, has turned family into his final frontier. His eldest daughter, Jennifer, is the emotional heartbeat of the clan. While Gary once conquered continents with clubs, Jennifer now crosses them for causes, leading humanitarian efforts under the Gary and Vivian Player Foundation. From Africa to Asia, she embodies her father's ethos: humility in action, not words. Her humanitarian trips, often spotlighting children's education and healthcare, reflect the same iron will that once made Gary a 9-time major champion. She's not chasing trophies, she's chasing transformation. Then there's Mark, the son whose story is stitched with both pride and pain. In 2025, Mark was handed a lifetime ban from the Masters after a controversial act that sparked outrage across the golfing world. The details polarized fans, but Gary's response was pure player, compassion cloaked in conviction. "Mistakes don't erase family," he declared, standing by his son as firmly as he once stood over a 10-foot putt to win the Open. Mark continues to forge his path in business and branding, proving that redemption, like golf, is a game of recovery shots. Amanda, Wayne, and the rest of the Player brood form the engine behind their father's philanthropic empire. Their collective mission, to uplift underprivileged children and strengthen communities, remains a beacon in global charity circles. Whether organizing junior golf initiatives, raising funds through tournaments, or hosting events for the foundation's causes, the Players operate less like celebrities and more like a movement. And through it all, Gary remains the gravitational center. Still spry, still spiritual, still swinging. If not clubs, then wisdom. At the Masters Par 3 contest, he's often spotted surrounded by laughing grandchildren, a living reminder that legacy isn't a brand, it's a bond. The Player family story isn't polished, it's human. It carries bruises, faith, and fierce loyalty. They fight, they forgive, they flourish. Their greatness doesn't come from avoiding failure, but from transforming it into fuel. In a sport obsessed with perfection, the Players stand apart. Their secret? The greatest swing in life isn't forward, it's the one that brings you back. Els advocates. If golf had a heart, Ernie Els would be it. The Big Easy with the soft voice, the smooth swing, and the eyes of a man who's seen both glory and grace. But behind his 4 major titles lies a legacy that's transcended trophies. It's not just about golf anymore, it's about love, advocacy, and the unbreakable bond of family. In 2025, the Els children, Samantha and Ben, are the pulse of that transformation. Ben, now 23, was diagnosed with autism as a child, a revelation that rerouted Ernie's entire life. Gone were the days of singular focus on fairways. In came the mission to build awareness, inclusion, and opportunity. Through the Els for Autism Foundation, the family has raised millions, constructing the Els Center of Excellence in Florida, a campus that's part school, part sanctuary, part revolution. Samantha, now 25, has grown into an unstoppable force of her own. A Stanford graduate and former rugby player, she's athletic, fierce, and fearlessly vocal about the sibling experience in families affected by autism. She co-founded support initiatives for siblings, giving a voice to those often lost in the advocacy conversation. Samantha embodies the next generation of leadership, bridging compassion with competitiveness, heart with hustle. Ernie and his wife Liesl are proud but humble, often appearing at events together, beaming as their children redefine what family legacy really means. For the Els family, the measure of success isn't birdies or majors, it's impact. The global awareness that rises from one family's personal challenge. The Els story could have been tragic, a tale of lost potential and diverted dreams. Instead, it's triumphant. It's proof that love can drive change stronger than fame ever could. In a sport obsessed with perfection, the Els family has made imperfection its masterpiece. And somehow, that feels more heroic than any green jacket. Ballesteros legacy. If golf were theater, Seve Ballesteros would have been its Shakespeare, brilliant, unpredictable, and a little bit mad. His swagger on the course was legend, his creativity, chaos disguised as genius. When he died in 2011, the world mourned a maverick. But in 2025, his children, Javier, Miguel, and Carmen, are the curators of that wild, unrepeatable magic. Javier, now 35, is the face of the Ballesteros brand. He still plays professionally on occasion, though his true calling lies in preservation. He runs the Sev Collection and manages the Sev Ballesteros Foundation, both devoted to sustaining his father's name, supporting junior golf, and funding brain cancer research. Every project is imbued with Seve's signature flair, part artistry, part audacity. Javier doesn't just maintain the myth, he reanimates it. Miguel and Carmen, though less visible, are equally devoted to the cause. Together, the siblings launched Sev Sundays, a digital series that shares personal anecdotes, unseen footage, and stories from those who knew their father best. It's nostalgia with a heartbeat, a way to remind the world that Sev wasn't just a golfer, he was a cultural event. Their dynamic is familial, sometimes fiery, much like their father's temperament, but united in purpose. The Foundation's continued success is proof that Sev's legend isn't fading, it's evolving. Each public appearance, each post, each project breathes new life into the name that once electrified Europe. In a world where second-generation fame often feels hollow, the Ballesteros children have achieved the impossible. They've kept their father's spirit intact without commodifying it. They're not selling Seva, they're storytelling him. Theirs is a legacy not of burden, but of belonging. Every clip, every Foundation event, every whispered story of their father's wild genius, it's all a reminder that some legends don't die. They just shift form, from man to myth to movement. Across continents and generations, the children of golf's greatest names have rewritten the script on legacy. Some embraced the greens, others fled from them. Some turned pain into purpose, others built empires from ashes. Together, they reveal a truth that haunts every dynasty. Greatness is inherited, but peace must be earned. Subscribe for more golf legacy deep dives, because behind every legend lies a family story just waiting to shatter the silence.